It's Joy. I'm excited to start this very important discussion on career progression. And one of the things that actually excites me about this topic is the fact that anyone at all can benefit from this kind of a discussion. You don't have to be a nurse. I understand that many of my friends are nurses or medical workers, and I've been getting messages or some nudgings, tell us about this, tell us about that. How can you advise us in this direction? So I decided that maybe it's to drop something. The good thing about this is the fact that you can always come back to the YouTube video and watch it later. I know it's the timing is not evening, it's not morning, so somehow a lot of people might be at work or might be busy with their daily activities. Unfortunately, this is the time that I have today to kind of squeeze it in. So it's going to be on my page, and you can always come to have a look at what is happening or what have been said. Career progression is what we'll be talking about today. I know that usually everybody is involved in doing something, and whatever you do, you would want to move forward in it. You when you're stuck or when you're not moving, it makes one feel like really handicapped, and you feel stuck. You feel under pressure to move. You feel like you're not growing. All right. So you take, for instance, just this illustration. One gives birth to a baby, and the baby does not progress to being able to hold themselves after a couple of time, a couple of weeks, months, be able to hold their necks, stand and eventually open their mouth, start blabbing, saying things, and sitting down independently, then probably crawling and then walking. When they start walking, they kind of stagger a little bit, then they get used to it, their legs become stronger, and they have a grip on that process and are able to run eventually. Good afternoon. You're welcome. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. You are welcome. You are on my page live, and the discussion, like I was saying, is about career progression. And career progression is not restricted to nursing or to medical practice alone. The good thing about it is that everybody would want some form of progress in whatever they do. The cobbler, the shoe cobbler on the street who works, that is hawking, at some point might desire to have a shop where he can sit down and somebody comes there. He might eventually want to venture into shoemaking instead of just fixing the shoes. That's the kind of progress in his own line of business. And before you can actually say that one would make progress in something, you need to know certain things and then the kind of things to expect. And it's a process, all right? So, career progression is a process, and this is not going to be a one off discussion today. It's not going to be a one off discussion. We will be talking about it from time to time, and we will be able to always come back to the videos if you feel like you have not been able to watch what has been said, when it was going on live. You can always come back to it. So it's more like a discussion. Therefore, if you think you have a question or something, there's like the chat is open for you to be able to say something, and I should be able to say it or ask questions or even ask to join, live, and we should be able. I allowed that option when I was setting this up. So if you have a question or something, you might try that option. Let's see how it works. Before you are able to progress in a career, you need to know what you're dealing with. All right. You need to know who you are in that profession. all right, in that career, in that job that you're doing. If you're a professional, I know that feeling when you are stuck, that feeling when it's like you're not making progress at all, that feeling when it's like some people are moving ahead and you are just where you are. You begin to feel like you're in a cage when you're not moving. So first of all, you need to know who you are, need to know what you're doing. So who am I as a person? I'm an individual. I know myself, and in terms of career, I am a nurse. So I've been able to identify that I am a nurse. And then what likely pathways am I exposed to as a nurse? What do I have as a nurse? What kind of, areas exist in nursing that I would want to progress to? Now, before you make that decision, there are certain things that you will be looking out for. For example, many people will be looking at what they love to do. You need to know what you are. Like I said, when you've been able to identify what you do, then you can identify the pathways for progression in what you do. So being a nurse, what are the different career pathways in nursing? And what do I want to do? How do I identify what I want in those pathways? As in, how, which pathways, the pathways that I want to take, how do I know that this is a pathway? How do I know? Number one thing you need to identify is your passion for that. You know, as as nurses, you will generally, in Nigeria especially, you will generally train as a general nurse first of all, which is what they call adult nursing in this part. But in Nigeria, we go into all forms of the areas, the different areas of nursing. As a student nurse, you would go to placements in pediatrics, you will go to gynecology, you will go to surgery, you go to theaters, you go to medics, you will go to medical wards, you might work, in different, whether male or female, you work probably in intensive care unit, and so you would have a feel. You might even go to the labor ward area, maybe on your own or volunteer, but you are exposed to the different areas. This is because they want you to kind of have a general knowledge, and that's why we are called general nurses. Now, you have an idea of these areas where you did your placements and your postings. So you know that they do exist. And then you want to identify which one you love. Maybe you love to work with children. You might want to venture into pediatric nursing. You might want to do a post-basic if you're within the country in Nigeria. I'm just talking generally. You might want to do a post-basic in pediatric nursing. You might want to go to psychiatry. All right, you might want to go to ophthalmic where you become like an eye nurse. You might want to venture into perioperative, working in the theater, or even ICU nursing or anesthesia, or you want to be a midwife. All right, maybe during your posting, you have decided you want to be a midwife. When you went in for gynecology posting, you prefer to work with women. Okay, so it depends. Now you need to identify what you want. Now that you have identified the area that you want to progress in, then you need to also know what do you need in these areas. For many of us, we are nurses, we are midwives, we probably have done one or two post basics. So now you're actually in the career and you are working. Now that you are working, being a nurse, you can be working in the accident and emergency department. You may be in female ward. You might just be somewhere. You may even probably have your master's or your degree, your first degree already, but you are employed and you're working and you are not moving forward. Now in this area, we are looking at promotion, okay, at a place of work. So assuming you know that you're working, like if you're just joining, thank you so much for joining me. You know that you are a nurse, you're trained, or you are a mechanic, you're trained. Also, I'm gonna be talking more about nurses. This is because that is like it's my occupation, it's my profession. So I understand how it works, but I know it's also applicable to every other areas as well. So you are a nurse, you're working, and you're not getting promoted. So you're talking about your progression in your career in that aspect. So what do you do? What do you need to get to where you want to get to? You get to that point, all right, where you identify what you need. So now you are in one level, you're at one level and you want to move to the next level. So this level that I'm eyeing, that I'm looking at, that I'm aspiring to get to, what are the responsibilities of that level? You need to know the responsibilities of that level so that you can start working yourself for that level and also start getting trainings that are required for you to get to that level. For some people, it might involve you, starting to attend like CPDs, compulsory mandatory, trainings, and maybe even paying for some trainings yourself. In the UK here, for instance, there are so many free courses online that you can do that can boost your education, that can boost your experience, that can boost your CV, so that when you're looking at a place that you want to get to, that experience that you've had at that level of training, it can help you. It's like a proof, it's something that you can show, so kind of boosting your CV for that level that you want to get to. I started by saying you need to know who you are. I know who I am. I'm a nurse. You need to also know what you want. So I did midwifery because I wanted to be a midwife. I love to care for women, and currently I'm working with women in the early pregnancy and gynecology department. However, working in that department, there are levels, there are places, there are positions that you want to get to. As a registered nurse in the UK, you start as a band 4 or 3 when you come in before you write your exam. Once you have been registered, you start at a band 5. I've seen people here who are on band 5 for 15 years, for 10 years, for 5 years. And I've also seen people who are on band 5 for 1 year, getting promoted to the next band so quickly. And some people even leaving the thing that they are doing and venturing into something else because that's the area of their passion. So when you're looking at your promotion or your progress in your career, you're looking at your passion, you're looking at what do you really want. And now that you've been able to identify what you want, you need to know what you need to get to where you want to get to. So for example, when I came into the United Kingdom, I worked for a couple of weeks as a band 4, wrote my OSCE part, became a band 5, and from day one when I came onto the ward, I've always known what I wanted. So I started looking out for places where I can get what I want. I was looking out for anything midwifery or women's health related. And what I did was I started to refresh my knowledge about women's health. I went into FutureLearn, registered with FutureLearn. There are Coursera, or whatever. There is Indeed where you can do courses so that you are kind of up to date and you are well equipped for where you want to get to. I did 1 or 2 courses in women's health, and about a year or so later, an opening came up in women's health department where I currently work, and that was how I was able to get that job. I was able to attend my interview and pass the interview. Of course, that's how I got the job. So there are things that you need to do. You might need to pay for courses yourself. You might need to self-fund for courses. You might need to get to your employer and apply to be funded or to be sponsored for courses. All right, so what you do need and the preparations that are required and how you access them is all up to you. One of the things that I've been saying and I'll keep saying is, for career progression, it is you that can stop yourself. You are the only person that can stop yourself from moving forward. Indeed, there might be maybe wicked bosses or people who are not ready for you to move, or people who are there before you and will want to also go forward as you're trying to go forward. However, none of them can stop you. A wicked boss cannot stop you, because you can decide to leave that department and move to another department where you will have what you need or what you desire. All right, so you need to access what will give you an edge, something that will place you on a pedestal where some persons can't get to, or a pedestal where what you need is easily accessible for you, something that that makes you to be like an asset in that area that you want. You cannot just sit down and say that you desire to be promoted. No, you cannot just sit down and say that you want to go to the next level. No, or that you have been here and others are coming and they are moving forward. No, that's not how it is. You need to make yourself relevant. That's where the place of trainings come in. You train yourself in many things. You apply for training. If you get, that's fine. If you don't get, you can self-fund. You will be fine at the end of the day. But you need to make yourself relevant. And also, for you to progress in your career, you need to sell yourself. I've met a couple of people who are very versatile in their experience. They have a magnitude of knowledge and skill set. However, when they come in for interviews, they don't know how to sell themselves. They don't know how to point out their good qualities, okay, so that others can see, so that the interviewers can see or the employers can see. So you need to be able to sell yourself out to the employer. There are many people that are stuck at the level of job application. All they get is unfortunate. So not recently, for some years now, I've been working with people who are looking for jobs, international jobs from Nigeria especially. And by the time they are saying they are applying, Sister Joy, all I get is unfortunate messages. And I said, no, let me see your supporting statement. Let me see how you are putting out your application. Let's see. And for most of these international jobs, there's like a template. For instance, the track jobs, there's a template on ground. You just need to fill some information. The only place where they give you an opportunity to kind of do things on your own, you are like independent there. You don't depend on their template. Is at that point where you have to sell your own experience. You sell your knowledge. You tell the employer the reasons why they should employ you because of what you can bring. So what can you bring to the table? You need to leverage on your knowledge, okay? Leverage your knowledge, leverage your experience, leverage your skill set. What trainings have you done? What knowledge do you have? What procedures can you do? What recommendations have you received in the past? All right. What emails have you gotten that like feedbacks, like compliments that you have received that are documented, or something that you feel you can bring to that role that someone else cannot? Why must you be the one to be hired? What can you do better than the other person? How are you going to, handle this post when you are given? What kind of qualities do you have that will make you a better candidate for this job? And why does your employer have to employ you? That's how you progress. That's how you progress in your career. So you are stuck at one level, but you have gotten some knowledge, you have gotten some trainings. Now it's time to venture into something higher. And then you start applying for jobs, or you start thinking, okay, this is time. So how do you bring your thoughts together? How do you bring your thoughts together? That's a place of mentorship, all right? It's a place of mentorship. Unfortunately, mentorship or mentoring is something that is actually lacking in the Nigerian society, especially in the healthcare system. It's very unfortunate. Mentoring is very, very, very important. It's key in your progression. So I've been talking about a few things. I may not have outlined them like one after the other, but the first things I started with is, what is your career? Who are you? What is that your career you want to progress in? Having known what your career is, at the moment, what level are you? What are you doing? What are you doing now? And then what do you want? What do you desire? So you need to know what you want. So you might want to list them. You might want to write them out. Currently, you are a career person, you are a professional or whatever. And then what are you doing now? Then what do you want? All right? What do you want? When you know what you want, what do you need to get what you want? All right? So what do you need? And then how do you access what you need? So in terms of what you need, which is where I've just explained, that's where you talk about trainings, all right? That's where we talk about selling yourself in terms of relevance, selling your relevance and your skill sets. That's where we talk about mentorship. Never underestimate the place of mentorship in your career development, in your career growth. There are some people that once they find out that this is your mentor or this is the person guiding you, because of the track record that that person already have, it gives them that confidence in you that you are a product of that person. Hence, you can be trusted, so they can give you that job. If you don't have a mentor, get a mentor. Get a mentor for yourself. Some people have had to pay for mentorship. I'm not advising you to pay for mentorship unless you extremely need to. People who are mentors, many of them they are doing it for free. They just need you to work with them. And of course, if you have to pay for mentorship, you have to pay for mentorship because it is their knowledge, it is their guidance, it is their time. And then you have to work with their time as well so that they can guide you. But while you are on the ward working, while you are in your office working, you can actually make somebody your mentor without having to pay. Be close to them, speak with them, observe what they are doing, all right? Seek their guidance and be very respectful to them. And they will pour into you. One of the challenges that we have, like I noted, is mentorship in nursing is not there. The reason is because I am a young nurse, all right, and I'm coming with some fire, some new knowledge and everything. And then the older nurses or the more experienced nurses on the ward might not be as computer savvy as I am. They might not be as outspoken as I am. They might not be as exposed as I am in terms of the things of the world, social media and all of that. But they have this knowledge, and we call them gallipots. We call them all sorts of names. Meanwhile, they have the experience that we need. So if we are able to kind of humble ourselves, come to them, get the knowledge that they have, to add it to our other knowledge, then we become better than they are, which is what they actually should be desiring. Because when you're living a profession and you're living it in the hands of better people, then you're happy. Unfortunately, it might not be the case in every area. So having known your career, having known what level you are, having known what you want, having known what you need to get to what you want, and then how do you access them? How do you access them? There are information online. There are people on your friend list, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter that are close to you that will definitely be very useful to you. That's how to access their knowledge and use it for free without having to pay for it. All right, you access them by trainings online. You access what you need by speaking with somebody. You access what you need by continuous current practice, practicing. They said practice makes perfect, isn't it? When you keep doing something over and over, you become better in it, because the mistake you made in it yesterday, you will no longer make that mistake in it today. So you improve every day. You keep improving and moving forward. So you need to keep practicing. Then you need to associate with the right people. Association. You can get them by association. Associating with the right people so that you can learn and unlearn things. I promised this was going to be 20 minutes and we're already more than 20 minutes gone. I'm just going to summarize, and in our next meeting, we will be talking about some specifics in career progression. In that area, as we go further, I will be able to talk about my story, my pathway so far in the United Kingdom, and that may help someone who's already in nursing here in the UK, in the US, in Nigeria. That might help if you are actually in practice. The things that I did, the way I went about it, and how I was able to get to where I am, and what I aspire, and what I'm doing towards what I'm aspiring to be. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want it to be too boring. I don't want to burn your data so much without, I understand how things work. For some of us that have free Wi-Fi where we pay for it, we have unlimited Wi-Fi. For some, they have to buy data. So I'm very considerate of some of us as well. So this afternoon, so far, in the last couple of minutes, I've been talking about career progression, and this career progression is not something that automatically happens. I was saying that there are some basics, there are some foundation to career progression. For you to progress in a career, first of all, you need to have a career, and then you need to know what you are doing at that point. You need to know what you are at that point. You need to know what you want. All right, you need to know what you want. So what I'm doing now is that I'm a nurse, I'm doing this and that, I'm in bedside, I'm in clinical, but later on I want to go into administration. So to get into administration, what do I need? What trainings do I need? What people do I need to meet with? What mentors do I need? That is the foundation to career progression, because what you don't know is your master. So if you want to progress in your career, you need to know what your career is, everything about it, or as much as possible. You need to know what level you are currently, and then you need to know where you want to get to, what you love, not just because they say mental health nursing is there's a lot of money in it. No, what do you love to do? You want to take care of children? Then you are looking at pediatrics or neonates or neonatal. You want to look after women, you probably are talking about midwifery or gynecology or women's health generally. You prefer to be a teacher, then you're looking at nursing education. Do you prefer just administration, probably leadership, then you're looking at nursing administration, and there are courses that you must do. There are, like people you must associate with. There are things you must be exposed to, knowledge you must be exposed to, which can come via your trainings, can come via mentorship, can come via association. All right, so we will continue from here, taking on specifics in our next discussion. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have not seen any questions. I hope that people don't have questions, but if you do have questions, you can always watch this and come back with your questions. Okay, thank you very, very much. This will be available on my page for anybody that has not been able to join us live to go back to and to also ask your questions. You can ask me questions on my on Facebook, and I will respond. You can ask me questions in my inbox for those of you that are friends with me. You can ask your question in the comment box, or you can also make a comment to support people, something that will be useful. You can also make a comment. Thank you and have a good afternoon. Bye.